She had been in the city for 2 years now. She had come up from North Carolina a long while ago, and she knew she had looked green at the time, and she knew her speech was not Northern, but that was a long time ago, and she had thought she was quite cosmopolitan by now, quite the city slicker. Pride goeth before a fall, she supposed, and she sat with her foolishness inside her, and her nervousness breaking out on her hands, which picked lint from the small black purse she carried. She sat in the detective squad room of the 87th Precinct on a mild day in April. There had been rain just a little while before, and the greenery in River Park across the street had shoved its clean, sweet scent onto the air, and the cleanness and sweetness had somehow managed to cross the street and filter in through the grilled windows of the squad room. The squad room did not very often smell sweet. The squad room housed 16 detectives who, while they were not always all there at the same time, worked hard nonetheless in somewhat cramped quarters. Detectives sweat. That sounds almost sacrilegious, because everyone knows only living human beings sweat. But even admitting that some detectives aren't quite human, let's be kind and allow that some of them are almost quite living, which is why the sweet smell from the park was a welcome one on that April day, which had miraculously turned to one of sunshine after a bad start.
"I feel awful silly about this," the girl said.
"What was your name again, miss?" Kling asked. Kling was a detective 3rd grade. He was tall and blond and somewhat young-looking, mainly because he was young. He was the newest detective on the squad, and sometimes his questions weren't exactly to the point because he was still learning the art of questioning. Sometimes, too, his questions made him feel a little foolish, so Bert Kling knew just how the young Negro girl in the straight-back chair felt.
"My name is Betty," she said. "Betty Prescott."
"Where do you live, Betty?" Kling asked.
"Well, I work for some people in the next state. I'm a domestic, you know. I've been working for them for 6 months now. Mr. and Mrs. Haynes."
She made the last a question, and she raised her eyebrows as if expecting Kling to know who Mr. and Mrs. Haynes were. Kling did not know.
"I'm supposed to be back there now," Betty said. "Thursday's my day off, you see. Thursdays and every other Sunday. I generally come into the city every Thursday. Mr. Haynes drives me to the station, and then Mrs. Haynes picks me up when I come back. I'm supposed to be back now, but I felt I should report this. I called Mrs. Haynes, and she said by all means I should report it. You see?"
"I see," Kling said. "Do you keep an apartment in the city?"
"I live with my cousin here, Isabel Johnson."
Again, she made the name a question. Kling didn't know Isabel Johnson either. "All right, what happened, Betty?" Brown asked. He had been silent up to this point, giving Kling his head. But Arthur Brown was a detective 2nd grade, with a known tendency toward impatience. He was impatient, perhaps, because his name was Brown, and the accidentals of birth had tinted his complexion the same color. He had taken a lot of ribbing from fellow Americans over the years, and had once considered changing his name to Lipschitz so that the hate-mongers could really have a ball. His impatience, as it related to his chosen profession, was sometimes a hindrance, but it crossed a very subtle line into a second character trait, and that trait was doggedness. Once Brown got his teeth into a case, he wouldn't unclamp his jaws until the nut was cracked. His impatience was a peculiar thing. There was, for example, a detective named Meyer at the precinct. Meyer's surname was, of course, Meyer, and Meyer's father had stuck him with the given name of Meyer so that his offspring emerged as Meyer. Now, if ever a man took guff because of a handle some unthinking parent had given him, Meyer was that man. But in Meyer, the years of guff had led to an almost supernatural attitude of patience. The only